Hello, you all right?
Hi, Victoria.
How you
Hi,
doing?
Claire. I'm going good. Thank you.
Good. I'm just adding my background. Just give me 1 second.
No problem.
It's not letting me add another background on my computer for some reason. I might just have to join through my phone. Oh, hold on a sec. Here
No
we
problem.
go. Right, I'm just gonna rejoin on my phone. Just give me 1 sec.
No problem.
Done. Sorted. Okay.
Ivy, can you hear it?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Do we have many people on with us today?
I think we're good to start.
We just wait maybe 2 more minutes just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I think we're good to start. Shall we record?
Yep. The recording is on. We're good to start.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's session on procurement modernisation. I'm Victoria Collier, and I have been working in and around business transformation for a couple of decades now, and I've done my fair share of procurement modernisations, including supply chain management and spend channel management. And I'm joined here today by Wasim, who is a co-founder and Vice President of Orbrick, and also has a background in supply chain and procurement. And I'm very fortunate today to be here so that I can interview Wasim and ask him some questions around how Orbrick are supporting organisations like yourselves on their modernisation journey. What I wanted to start by saying is that from an Orbrick perspective, Orbrick specialise in business consultancy, so they have a lot of business acumen around corporate processes and how to modernize those processes. But they also have a lot of in-depth Oracle experience that they've gained over a number of years. Many of the founders of Albrick were previously known for an organisation called Evosys that specialised in Oracle implementations. They've taken that knowledge and that experience and created Albrick. And in a minute, I'm going to ask Wasim some questions around what inspired them to create Albrick. But before we do, I just wanted to talk through a couple examples of their customer base, just so you can understand sort of the experience from a reality perspective. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Astor Pharmacy. So as you'll see on the slide in front of me, there's lots of logos there, but we'll just pull a couple out just to make them a little bit real and bring them to life. So Astor Pharmacy, Albrick worked with those on a procurement modernisation and inventory optimisation project, and they used one of their AI toolkits or algorithm toolkits as part of the second site features. They've also worked with an organisation called Emical, and as part of that, they actually worked on the implementation of the procurement, inventory and maintenance piece along with financials. And I'm just going to pull out one more example, which is relating to Redwood and AI enablement, which is very topical this time of year. Particularly with the focus of the Oracle conference this year being rebranded as AI World, and the fact that we're all being firmly encouraged to move to Redwood at the moment. So the organisation I'm going to talk about is Zamil Industrial, and Albrick have been supporting Zamil Industrial with their Redwood enablement for supply chain management, and also with adopting some AI features as well. So we want to get into the topics, but just before we do, I just want to ask Wasim a couple of questions about what inspired the transition from the Evosys model to the Albrick model, and what inspires Albrick to deliver the business value maximization work that they're doing.
Thanks, Victoria, and I think this is one of common question which we get across any of the customers we are meeting, any of the interviews we are part of. As you know that our previous experience is all about implementations. You see a lot of logos over here where the transformations are being done. But I just want to make sure that put more context into what happens after the implementations have been done. So we have got some alarming examples over here, like PCG says 52% of the companies implement or go through the digital transformation, but are not able to get the best ROI out of it, which is concerning. Talking also specific to the user base, because users are core to any ERP implementation. They make the success possible. So 63% of the users feel that the ERPs are generally underutilized, and they just become a tool. And if I talk a bit more around procurement, which is the topic and which is also my area of expertise, we are seeing that Gartner has said 50 to 60% of the ERP capabilities goes unused after 2 years of go live, which is alarming. And then that's where the entire idea of setting up Albrick came into Victoria. We had been doing digital transformation. We wanted to make sure our next big thing which we do has to be making sure that the implemented customers where they are using Oracle Fusion, they get the best value out of it. And that's where we are going to talk about probably modernization, why it is important in procurement. But that's what inspired us to be here. You're on mute.
Thank you very much. There was a little bit of background noise at my end while you were speaking, Wasim, and I wanted to make sure that you weren't disturbed. Right, so I think the stats definitely speak for themselves. And I think in the back of our consciousness, there is always that understanding that we actually, in order to achieve the real benefits, we have to do more. And we're talking a lot nowadays about modernisation, particularly that we're on the cusp of a leap forward with the abilities that AI brings. But what does modernisation mean from your perspective?
Yeah, and before I go into the details, let me talk about what should be a modernization, right? Means if an organization is going through a modernization process or a digital transformation, they go through different stages, and that's what we have done in at Orbrick. We have tried to break down that entire journey where you start the digital transformation and then you achieve the final orbit. So we have divided it into 3 stages. That's how we classify the maturity stage of any customer. Liftoff is the initial stage where the customer is planning to move to the modern best practices, probably selecting Oracle as the choice of application, implementations being done. That's where the core focus is on having all the operations digitalized. Once that has been done, then comes the very important phase of ascend, where we are more of now talking about the ROI and the statistics which I just talked about earlier. They all start coming into the minds of the users as well as the decision makers at this stage. However, a lot of organizations miss out on setting up the right benchmarks, and if you don't have a right benchmark set, then it is almost impossible to look for what you want to achieve. And that's where organizations have to go into a ascend phase with a benchmarking. So most of the organization just stay between the liftoff and transitioning to ascend, but they are never able to make it to the benchmark stage. Once you have set up the benchmark, then your actions start driving based on that. Like Redwood, you already have made the investment. Oracle is investing billions of dollars in bringing out new features of Redwood AI. They are all out of the box. You don't have to incur a huge amount of additional investment. So Redwood is an important aspect, what we say in and as you are doing that, Redwood is a gateway for the next set of features. If you talk about AI Agent Studio, the available features out of the box of AI and automation, which are Gen AI features, they are all available out of the box in Oracle. And then most important part, if you are an organization who has successfully pivoted to Ascend and now you are into the orbit stage, your focus would be most importantly on, you set it up the KPIs, you decided what is the benchmark. Do you have a monitoring of what you were targeting earlier and what you have achieved? And that's where if an organization is able to achieve that, that's what we call a true modernization. Organization has pivoted from liftoff to orbit. So that's what in my definition a modernization would be.
Okay, that's really, really interesting. I love the point that you make about the KPIs. So I'll just spell it out just in case anyone's listening that's not sure what KPI means. So key performance indicators. Now I've mentioned I've worked in the Oracle space for a couple of decades now. So I've worked on lots of implementations, and it always surprises me that when we start an implementation that many organizations don't start from their KPIs. Because obviously KPIs are what drives the business, and that's what drives success. And therefore we should start with the end in mind. So I love the fact that your methodology includes a big focus on key performance indicators and how we deliver business operations that meet those key performance indicators underpinned by Oracle, which is awesome. So this is a really good framework. How does this apply from a procurement perspective? Could we deep dive into that, please?
Absolutely. So you can see over here, I had talked about some of the KPIs, requisition to PO cycle time, supplier performance, but it's important for an organization to understand that what should be the area of focus if they are moving to procurement. And that's where what Orbrick has done is based on our previous experiences of doing transformations, carrying customers post-transformation through a successful adoption of modern practices and technology. What we have done is we have divided the entire set of outcomes into different levels, like what should you focus on while you are on the liftoff stage, what you should focus on when you are an ascend, or what you should to focus on if you are an orbit. And what we have done is we have created our own outcome stack, which you can see on our screen. Because this is procurement focused, I have filtered out the procurement modernization related outcomes, but Orbrick has in total 70 plus outcomes which we work on. So if, let's say, for example, you are an organization who has just implemented Oracle, your first area of focus would be, as you can see over here, an outcome would be purchasing workflow automation. That is an area you want to improve. And what are the things you need to look upon is whether there is a PO approval cycle time reduction, whether there is a reduction in the other cycle times. And that is at the lift off stage. Probably 3 months pass, you become more mature, focus shifts on, okay, the cycles are all moving okay. Are we adopting the right features into the system? So that's where our another adoption index comes into play, where we are more of focusing on, are you using the touchless buying to its entire worth? Are you using electronic PO transmission? Many times we have seen that organizations start using the system, but then it just becomes a tool. And that is something which we avoid using these outcomes. We try to focus on the areas or outcomes which are really important for them.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, and I think that's one of the things that I definitely love about Orbrick and your methodology, is that it's very, very outcomes focused. But most organizations nowadays are quite complex, and they have lots of outcomes that they need to achieve. So sometimes even starting can feel quite daunting, because, you know, where do we start first? There's a lot to do. How do we resource it? What's the plan? Have you got sort of any hints and tips or guidance on how to do this in a structured and systemized way? But I guess also, given where we are in the evolution of technology, how do we do that leveraging automation and AI as well?
Yeah, and that's what we thought, Vic, right? We first sat down, brought all our experience onto the table to put down into an outcome. So that looks good. Now, how do we make that practically possible? How do we make sure we use the modern practices technology to get this achieved? And that's where what we did is we have put together a series of tools which would give you a jump start in terms of, if you are looking for an outcome, you are a customer, you have already went live, it has been 3 months, and now you're looking for, okay, please tell me where I am in terms of the cycle times, workflow automation, where I am in terms of the adoption index, what is the area which I have to most focus upon. So that's where comes our foresight tool. It's a tool which can be executed on a Fusion environment, and we give out a report in less than a day. It's entirely a data-driven assessment. It gets connected to your Fusion environment and fetches you a report. So let me give you a quick glimpse. I'm going to play out a video which talks about how this tool works. This is in live action. Of course, it is data privacy related concerns are taken care of. You put down your instance credentials and your Fusion instance. You select what you are looking for. So as we said, we have areas of supply chain, financials, HCM. We are going to focus on procurement adoption. As soon as you select it, you can see the different outcomes which is going to cover. You can of course focus and pinpoint just on a specific outcome. You generate the foresight report. It gets the data from your Fusion environment and generates an output which you which is a very important. We think that if you are not able to translate your achievements into objective numbers, hours saved or dollar values or pounds saved, it is not of much value. And that's where we try to put down a value of a cash flow saved or unlocked with every outcome. And then as this goes, system is going to tell you that, and just I click play again, so I'm going to run forward. Okay, so this lays out what are the outcomes which we selected, and it tells you what you are currently at which stage. So it is telling that you are in ascent. It also gives a glimpse of the process mining, a snapshot of how many documents have been processed across different stages, put away how many invoice creation have been done, and then it starts giving you an insight in terms of what is doing well, what is not doing well. As you can see on my screen, it is telling that some of the KPIs are higher than benchmark, some are lower than benchmark. And most importantly, we just don't talk about the problems. We also give out the actionable solutions. And that's what can be an action which organizations can leverage and convert them into cash flow unlock.
Okay, that's really, really interesting. There's a saying in the UK of put your money where your mouth is, but I noticed on the report where you're putting the value against the savings. You're putting your money where your outcomes are, so you're willing to back those outcomes. Okay, so I think what I've understood from that little overview is that if there's a specific area to focus on within procurement where a customer knows that they've got a specific pain point, then this will drive us down that route. But what if an organization, and I've seen this in the past with people that I've worked with before, where they know they've got problems, but they're not sure where the problems start, what's the root cause, so they don't know where to focus their energy. Do we have any recommendations that we can give to help get them started?
Yeah, Vic, absolutely. And again, this is an area which we get questioned every time when we talk about this, that, okay, you are talking about a pinpointed problem, but if I don't know where the problem lies? So that's where what we do is we have something called a recommender. We execute the recommender, and based on that, system generates a consolidated rating, which you are able to see on my screen. So let's say we ran it for procurement outcomes, and based on that, we would do an analysis to tell you that what are the areas you need to most focus upon. Based on our previous experience, our second site engagements, what we have done with customers, we see that process modernization and AI and automation are some of the areas which organizations generally lack on, and that's where the money is. You can go leverage that, and most importantly, because you have already implemented Oracle Fusion, it's a no-brainer. You don't need to do any additional investment. You don't have to get any other licenses or roles. It's just that you enable that capabilities, you start leveraging them. And that's where a most important aspect in current times is Redwood and AI automation, which comes and follows after it. So I'm going to talk a bit more around that. What do we do once we identify that, yes, these are the problem areas? So let's say AI automation and Redwood is something we need to focus on. So that's where we go into Redwood. We talk about what are the capabilities of Redwood. So I'm going to quickly also talk about how we have seen Redwood shaping up. It has been with us for quite some time now. We see that some of the things which are going to help organizations a lot if they start transitioning to Redwood is new features like AI agent studios, journeys, Gen AI features which are available out of the box are going to be one of the most important aspect. Plus, the look and feel of the pages, plus the navigation has been made much smoother because the Redwood uses a technology which is more global compared to the classic ADF pages, wherein the tabs and search are more thoughtfully integrated. And of course, Oracle has kept in mind the mobile first approach, where all the screens can be used on tablets and mobile without compromising on the experience. So these are some of the most important aspects if an organization is going to Redwood, they are going to get. More importantly, Visual Builder Studio, a very strong tool which is part of the Redwood. All the pages which are going to Redwood would have a VBS support, and VBS, and we have just put down certain use cases, like if you want to enable business rules driven actions, like certain validations to be put, that are all now possible without customizations. You can all do it as part of VBS. So that's what about Redwood plus a bit of VBS.
Okay, and I know Redwood is a hot topic at the moment, and lots of organisations are trying to get their head around what it means. And I know with Redwood, it's kind of a user interface change, but there are also going to be sort of, as part of that user interface change, there'll be some features that change, and it will affect different modules at different stages. So are you able to share with us any information on what's already mandatory to be Redwood and what's expected to become mandatory after 25C?
So although most of the supply chain, I would say almost 90% plus supply chain pages are now Redwood enabled, and we always recommend that organizations start moving to that. Some of the pages where it has been made mandatory is external supply registration, responsive self-service, procurement, RFS, or SSC are some of the areas which should be at the top priority, because those features are going to go out of support post 25C, and 25C might be on your environment, or you might be getting it soon in a couple of weeks. So that's a quick hint to team members who are already on to Fusion 25C.
Okay, awesome.
So, yeah.
Go on, sorry, go on, continue, Wasim.
Yeah. So one of the other thing which I just wanted to talk about, and I'll not take a lot of time on that, but we talk about Redwood. You asked about the features, but more importantly, it's also important people to understand how do we. So we do a mix of the standard tools which are provided by Oracle. We use personalization helper analysis. We have built our own dashboards and analytics to give you visibility of how much percentage you have transitioned on Redwood. Based on that analysis, we start enabling, and of course, there are some areas to identify where VBS development would be required. We do that development. Again, this is all supported development. This is not going to require customers to go for past licensing or tokens. And once that has been done, then the usual quick approach of validating through training and user acceptance testing, and then we do a cutover and migrate to production. So we do as short as 4 weeks for simpler applications, and it can also extend to a couple of months if you're looking for the entire suite to be transitioned to Redwood.
Okay, so the other thing I think we've spoken about in the past, Wasim, and I'm hearing a lot about, is embedded AI. So is this separate from Redwood? Is Redwood bringing more opportunity for embedded AI? And could you take us through some of the embedded functions, please?
Sure, and Vic, it's very important. Redwood, of course, is going to improve a lot of things on the UI part, but it is also going to bring in a lot of new features which are around Gen AI, traditional AI, and also AI Agent Studio, which has been around the corner. So I see also are embedded onto the exact pages. Like if I talk about a procurement policy advisor, which is one of a very important agent, that can be leveraged only you have transition to Redwood. So that's where Redwood is to be created for we're going to use. The AI agent is fully on Redwood, which is a low-code or almost no-code platform. You can build your own agents. You can have external APIs being called. You can bring your own LLM. A lot of features coming, and 25D is also going to have workflow agents being part of it. So you can leverage all the power of Fusion along with the AI adoption, which is going on into the market. More importantly, what we do at Orbrick is we always keep outcome at the center, which we talked at the start, right? Whether customer is looking for improvement of adoption index, workflow automation, and that's where you see the features which you are seeing on the left hand side. Oracle AI use cases. These are all Gen AI use cases, AI agents which are available. We map it with the outcomes which can be improved. So when you are looking at our overall outcome stack, it is going to tell that if you want to improve, leverage these features, take these KPIs, and also use these agents which are available out of the box. So that's what we try to connect the entire end-to-end cycle.
Okay, awesome. So in terms of the AI piece, how do you sort of get to the point where the customer is, at the start of their journey, they've worked out the value that they want to target, and then we're going to be at a point where we can measure that at the end of the journey?
So, and this is the most important piece, right? Means digital adoption is done. Organizations would say that yes, you start going on to a value realization journey, but if you're not able to measure or monitor it, then what's the use of that? There's no benefit of it, right? And that's where what we did is we thought of the entire cycle. We talked of outcomes. We talked about 4-site initial assessment, doing a second site detailing, adoption of Redwood, and then we have put together an outcome monitoring tool, which is going to be leveraged by the customer. This customer facing customer would leverage, and it is connected to your Fusion environment, and it is going to tell you that what was before and after, and what has been the KPI improvement, what are the remediations you had taken into account, and what is the cash flow value you have unlocked. I'm going to give a quick glimpse of how it looks, and we call it hindsight, which is proactive outcome monitoring, as I just talked about. You can see you select the outcome which you are focusing on. So let's say, for example, you have some AI and automation related outcomes, and it is going to give you the and it also tells you that what is the North Star matrix. It also tells you what was the previous time to requisition earlier, and now what is the time to requisition. It shows the improvements which have happened over the period. More importantly, it also gives you a glimpse of what was the process mining before, what is the process mining after. So if there were any challenges, if there are complex processes which you have resolved, you also get a view of that. And then we also get to know what are the interventions which are chipped in at time to time. And more importantly, if there is a value currency, that what is the value saved. So this is what our monitoring tool is.
Okay, thank you, Wasim. I'm not sure whether we just lost sound for a moment there, but I'm going to go on with my next question, and hopefully you can hear me. So this has all been really, really interesting, and I think for those joining the call with a view for looking to improve or modernize their procurement functions using Oracle, taking advantage of Redwood, taking advantage of Allbrick skills, expertise and tools, what would you recommend as the next step? So, you know, if we were asking an organization to reach out and talk to you, what would you give, what advice would you give, and what offerings could you do to support them?
Sure, Vic. So these are some of the bundles or offerings which we have at Orbrick. So we have basically two offerings. One is a navigator where the focus is purely on Redwood. If you want us to come in, do the quick work of the Redwood adoption and AI features enablement, we target that to be completed in 4 weeks. Because we are talking about procurement here, we have put down self-service procurement and procurement cloud, but this can be extended. More supply chain modules or HCM modules can be included. We also do a full package, which is Navigator Plus, where you can see we would, of course, do the Redwood adoption. But along with that, the post-ware analyst, after the feature enablement, we would also provide you with a continuous improvement monitoring plan. And this one starts from 4 weeks. It all depends on how many outcomes you are looking for, what you are trying to improve. So these are the two packages which we offer. One is a simpler one, just focused on Redwood. Another one is a full bundle having end-to-end outcome in the center.
Okay, so the clear message here is that for those with an interest in modernising procurement, at the moment, Orbrick are able to come in and support you with your Redwood adoption and also enabling some of the AI features that will be available to you. But if you're interested in that value maximisation piece and really driving more modern outcomes, there's also some assessments that Orbrick can support you with that will pinpoint where there are opportunities for improving and optimizing your Oracle implementation and getting you on that modernization roadmap. Wasim, thank you very much for all the information you've shared. It's been really, really helpful. We'll open the floor up to some questions. We'll just give it a couple of seconds, see if anybody wants to ponder a few questions for us. Okay, Wasim, we've got one question coming in the chat that I'm just going to relay to you. So the question relates to Redwood, and the question is what are the main challenges in getting organisations to feel comfortable adopting Redwood, that sort of the new Redwood features?
So I think based on the transitions which we have done, we have already around 4 customers from the classic UI to the Redwood. Some of the key things which we change, which we see is the challenge, some of the adoption of the new practices, right? Means, say, for example, you are now moving, you were earlier doing the process steps manually, but now there is a chatbot agent which has came out. Along with that, the Redwood UI is giving whatever you had earlier. It sometimes becomes overwhelming for the customer or the end user. So what we try to focus on is the end user training as well as a clear demonstration at the start itself, which makes sure a clear understanding is that there with the user. So that is one area. Another is not a challenge, but generally a concern which users think it's there. But I just want to clear that notion. Data would not be a challenge. Whatever you have as a data in your existing data management applications, they are going to be part of the Redwood. So you don't have to incur a lot of efforts in transitioning, or there's almost no effort in there. So that's one of the things I wanted to clear out.
Okay, brilliant. And we have another question in the chat, which is, how do we get a better understanding of the embedded AI features within Oracle?
So there are two ways. Either Oracle has given out all the documentations. If you go to the cloud readiness, it tells you what features are coming. Also, if you go to the cloud documentation, it lists down all the features. So a great work done by Oracle team by providing all the standard documents. However, Oracle will be any discussions. If you want a demonstration of some of the areas where your focus is in terms of AI features, feel free to reach out. We would be happy to come on a call and work with them.
Okay, brilliant. And it looks like you've got your contact details on the screen in front of us, so they can reach out at hi@orbrick.com if they want some further information on Oracle Redwood or AI or the modernization of procurement. Wasim, thank you very much for all of that information, and thank you to everyone that joined us. We look forward to hearing from you if you've got any questions.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.